Welcome, everybody. This is the weekly live stream that we do. We co-stream this on Brian White's channel, Futuraza, and we have Brian Wang of Next Big Future with us today. The two Brian W's and the two futures. Nick Gibbs is not able to join us this week. This is a big, giant week for Tesla, isn't it? Like we've got production delivery numbers coming on Thursday. The most important thing, of course, is maybe full self-driving version 14 might drop this week. People are saying that it's like, yeah, they're expecting it to come. And then, of course, last night was the September 30th, the ending of the $7,500 credit. And Tesla surprised everybody by releasing just within hours, like 6 hours left of the September 30th timeframe. They released the Model Y Premium, the Model Y Performance. I keep calling it Premium, it's Performance. But at some point, we should also, this is the fourth quarter, we should also be hearing about the more affordable vehicle coming up. The stock seems to be jumping also, flat, but also makes these weird moves. So we'll talk about all of that. Welcome, Brian, and welcome, Brian.
Hey, great to be here.
So let's start with Tesla full self-driving. Then we'll do stock. Then we'll do Model Y Performance, and then we'll do the more affordable vehicle. So the full self-driving, because that's the most important thing, isn't it? FSD version 14. Are you too expecting that it's going to drop this week as well? Or are you kind of like going to say it's Elon time?
I'm expecting it to drop this week.
Yeah, I think any day is the appropriate time. I feel like we've seen them testing it internally for long enough that it's probably sufficiently vetted and ready to go. We know there's a version or two behind it that may already be in testing. This would, and I definitely expect 14 to be out before the earnings call and before the shareholder meeting in November.
And all it takes is to start the rollout by giving it to like Homars, maybe you, Herbert, like it's a few.
No, not me. I'm never one of the early ones.
No, you're not one of the ones? Okay.
AI driver, no. Chuck Cook.
Yeah, AI driver, Chuck Cook. Yeah. I expect to go to them because what's the harm in going early to them? You could have a slower,
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. My gosh. Oh my gosh. Nick Gibbs. Dude.
Hey, Nick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Huh?
Can you hear me okay?
Not through your mic. It sounds like it might be something else.
Didn't expect you, Nick. I thought you'd be busy.
So the question was, do you expect V14 in the next week?
You asking me?
But so yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Nick.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There we go. Cool.
So the question was, do you expect FSD 14 this week or within a week? What's your expectation?
I don't actually. I think, do I expect it? No. I think we'll start seeing the phases of rollout probably in the next week to 10 days.
That's kind of where we were all at. Any day now, it feels like the early testing has been sufficiently long that unless there are some red flags, they can just start rolling it out.
Yeah. According to Omar's catalog, he says that he's very certain that employees have been using version 14 now. And then the question I asked yesterday was, do you guys think that Robotaxi in either California ride hail or Austin are using FSD version 14 by now? If employees are doing it, why wouldn't you already have the employees that are doing the ride hailing and you got their safety rider on the Austin one too to really test this out?
California would surprise me less than Texas. If there are weird little flaws in it, you want someone behind the wheel. Employees would do that, but only if they are behind the wheel.
Yeah, it makes sense to roll out in California first because they do have safety drivers there instead of just safety monitors. So if you're doing a phase release, you would do it for the employee rides because they give employees rides with a Robotaxi service. And then you would go then from there to California, and then you go to Texas in terms of like a sequence.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go a little against the three of you. I think that I'm pretty confident it's going to be released. I think you did say though, Nick, that small releases, like somebody will get it this week. Like Omar, AI driver, Chuck Cook might get it. Not all of us. The reason is like if Elon said it last week and he said, we're going to release it next week, it's less likely that it's one of those 2 weeks things. It's 2 weeks and then never doesn't show up for months later. It feels like that this was already a plan and this is where they felt comfortable and this is where they're going out. So, yeah.
And then they're also planning within 2 weeks or so, 14.1. So they already are testing all three versions, 14.0, 14.1, 14.2. So
Right.
It seems that I think the level of confidence on that, it's like, I would say my over and under would be Friday or Saturday, so if it was,
Yeah, and so the other thing too, right? This is a huge upgrade. 14, he says, is more than just the 12 to 13 jump. It's the 10x parameters. If you were testing 10x parameters, you're not going to be like, you would know already by now if it was working or not. Then it's ready. Like you're doing the final changes to it because it takes, I don't know how many miles, but lots and lots and lots of miles of driving to really figure out whether or not this new parameter version is going to be better or worse than the 13. It's not like the difference of 1 week is less than more than just double checking to make sure, right? You know what I mean, Brian?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that they're ready to go. So they previously, when they said it's going to release back in the 13 days or the 12, they say it's going to come out next month. They got that zeroed in now, so I'm not expecting slippages that way.
Okay, exciting. Are you guys expecting this to be a stock catalyst? So far, everybody says no.
I think the people who can see this are already pricing it in. I think people like you and me who look past this release and have been seeing the future from a year or 2 or 3 ago have already gone all in as much as we can, leaving very little dry powder on the sidelines. So I don't know that the people who are waiting for some catalyst are going to recognize this.
I think it moved the stock kind of delayed effect because when you release 12 or 13 written versions, even though they were substantially better, I don't think the actual releases of it, early videos showing, hey, it's wonderful, have as much of an effect. Like you also saw it in China where they were doing like really great drives when they got their 12. So I think when a 14 comes out, because it takes time to test it and to see why it's different and better, they would want to see those effects. And if it resulted in removing the safety monitor, it resulted in more monetary type effects, more measurable type things, then it would move the stock. So it will, because of what it enables, move the stock, but after those other secondary things happen.
What do you think, Nick? I mean, what happened in China was they released it and then there was videos galore. That could happen this time around. More videos of people showing, my God, FSD version 14 reversed out of this, one-way lane. Oh my gosh, this version 14 did this move, that move. That's starting to feel sentient.
Yeah, I think right now Tesla is in a funny place when it comes to the stock. I think I'm not going to be a popular guy right now. I think it's very over its skis in the short term. I think the whole market is over its skis in the short term. And I have been, privately and telling people, my opinion, not financial advice, is take profits. Take some profits. Never hurt to take money off the table. You can always reload it. But I'll tell you what, having paper winners and then having paper losses again is more painful than having a little FOMO.
So I take a different approach because I watch your feed. I follow you on X. And while I have tremendous respect and admiration for your stock moves, I don't have the appetite for it. I already sleep bad enough without that hanging over me. So I'm going to be investing against the Gibbs on this one.
Yeah, that's a good point, Brian. Like, to be more nuanced, if you're just a buy and hold person, then just buy and hold. Like, don't change your strategy. You had your strategy. You should set your strategy in stone. What I will say is you don't have a strategy if you don't know when you will sell. So even if that number is 3,000, 5,000 a share, whatever it is, in my opinion, you should never get into an investment, into a trade, anything, unless you know how you're going to get out, and then stick with it. But what I'm saying is more in the short term, because I know, Brian, not everyone's just buying a hold. There's a lot of degenerates in the Tesla community who have $600 Tesla leaps that are going to happen tomorrow. So
yeah, crazy. But yes,
so that's
people
all
do
I'm
that.
saying is for people who, if you have all these call options right now and they're highly profitable, if you have all these, cash secured puts and they're highly profitable, take money off the table. Owning options is not the same as owning stocks. Time is not your friend, especially if you're buying. So just saying that.
So a technique for that, which I've done a little bit just recently, is to, at these levels, you can roll out so if you have a particular strike price 460 or something like that, and now we've just passed 460, you could then go to 550 out a month later, and then that would be, to Nick's point, taking money off the table, but you'd still be in if it kept running, right?
Well, it's only taking money off the table if you put on less contracts. Otherwise, you're just taking the same capital and further extending it.
No, if you do it at a high enough point, then you would take 20-30% off the price of the per contract thing. You could do more taking off the table by taking a contract down, but you could say 4 contracts at, it's at $70, something like that, and then 4 contracts at $40 because you've gone to a higher strike number, right? Then you're effectively taking money off the table.
That's true.
So you can do a roll that way to participate. So anyway, more about option things, which most people don't do. Yeah,
I think most people do.
Okay. Okay.
In fact, it's actually the most popular thing right now. It's 0-day SPXs. It's the most popular trade period. It dominates over 60% of all trades in the stock market.
Yeah.
This is the stock movement. It's crazy. Look at it today. Went up $15. And we're now at 460.
460.
Oh, there you go. Right there. We're now at 460. Look at that, guys. I mean,
it's a 40% move in 1 month.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
39.69%. Gibbs. Good job. Look at that. 40% move in 1 month. 71%.
And it could go higher. It could go a lot higher. I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying.
6% jump, $25 in just the past 5 days. So obviously things are happening. Now this, I don't think all these moves have, anyway, so what I'm asking is that the one difference between today and yesterday is today is the fourth quarter. Does that make any difference at all to why the stock went up today?
I think it's tomorrow's
yes,
release of volume that people are anticipating that to be good. So a run up today might mean a sell in the news tomorrow. And people just anticipating, good numbers on it. And, all the leaks, vibes, counting all seem to be showing that's going to be high. Like Troy Tesla came out with 481,000. I'm not sure what Brian White, if you had some production or other numbers, you have sometimes done that. You usually don't do deliveries, right?
I've got deliveries showing 468, 531 against production of 459, 600. So I'm not as optimistic as Troy.
Okay. Yeah. But there's a range right now. So the consensus still was at 440, 450, right? Is it consensus is probably moving up because people are adjusting. The consensus being the analysts at firms are doing some stuff. Anyway, so that's my guess as to why it's up. But also just in general, everything's positive. Like we're talking about FSD, we're 14, everything we're talking about is in general good for the stock. So
yeah, Herbert. I mean, it's not even just Tesla in general. I mean, it's the whole market. The whole market is overextended. Is the best way of saying it, at least in the short term. I mean, just look at the S&P's peak. I mean, literally by any metric, it's frothy as can be.
Well, we have 2 rate cuts supposedly incoming. So
we've known about that. So the market's already built that in. Look at the bond markets. It's there.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, so
I think, sorry, just to go back to Brian's point, I think this is all about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or
that makes sense.
Anticipation. These are trades, in my opinion, happening right now. Anticipation for tomorrow.
So what
And
is
then-
everyone's prediction for tomorrow? Is it going to be a sell the news day? I know I've met people who every quarter sell a bunch of shares the day before earnings or deliveries and then buy them back the next day, no matter how it goes. And more often than not, unless it's a huge beat, the stock goes down. It's pretty rare for it to go up, although I have seen people burned on that. Any predictions for tomorrow in your crystal ball?
I think it depends upon the number as well as the energy number. If we're over 495, 500, I think we can pop up and hold it. If it's at a lower number, it could get wrecked. If it was below 460, 450, that would be, I think, bad news for the stock temporarily, short term, right? Again, it's all short term stuff, and then other things take back over with Robotaxi and stuff like that. But for this particular, days,
See, I don't have a crystal ball. I have a magic 8-ball, and it always says "ask again later."
You're doing 8
Getting-
balls? What's going on over there?
Good innuendo.
Yes, yeah, right. No, I kind of agree with Brian. I don't, both Brians. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, Herbert, but I have noticed that every time I get very amped up about, we're going to have big, on X, and for my subscribers, I was kind of posting about this. I get so freaking annoyed that every time Tesla is in a good spot and everything's cooking and we're firing on all proverbial cylinders, there's always crap going on in the world. Like now we got a government shutdown. Now it looks like that we're going to be back in Ukraine and all that stuff. It's like all this stuff, of course. It all has to happen right now, right as Tesla's finding its stride again. Every single time. And so every time I get excited about, it's going to be big numbers, it's like there's all this other noise that just one post, one action, one thing that happens. And but guys, didn't you see what happened with Tesla? And but who knows? Maybe tomorrow's going to be different. I mean,
the other thing would be
different.
If I were to zoom back, like if you say, okay, what happened in the last big run where we went, 10x, it was because Model 3 got to volume, China started happening, all those things happened over roughly 12 months or so. So if we zoom back from here, that if we look back 2 years from now and say, wow, it went from, whatever number to an eventual major endpoint of period of a big move, it could be that it's because of, and then they released the cheaper car and Robotaxi became the real thing, right? It could be the overall Robotaxi story over several months that could be a long-term bullish shift. So, but that would be, in hindsight. But I'm just saying, if that's a story that's playing out, then we could see this protracted move.
That does sound like a bunch of bullish shift.
Yeah.
Careful. Oh my God, that's funny. So okay. What I've heard from many of the institutional analysts is that this run up is because of the Q3 production numbers. But us retail folks, we think that it's because of autonomy and the shift of realizing Tesla's an AI company. Where do you guys stand on that? No, and I'm not just talking about that tomorrow there's going to be a dip. I'm not talking about the short term. I'm just talking about in general over the quarters, as we see the stock rising now, as we showed in 6 month, 1 month numbers.
I think that the overall main story, like if to Nick's point, if we don't have a major adjustment of more earnings, the autonomy story playing out, that if it was just Q3 and Q4 having over 500K cars, something like that, I don't think that's enough to hold the stock at this level, that it would then pull back, right? So if we don't follow up with more, that is really a long-term growth thing, which to me is FSD, Robotaxi, no safety drivers, no safety monitors, that getting to a substantial thing. On the car side, it can fill in. Like if is happening, but also you have a stripped down Y, and they follow up with more execution on that. Like, again, going back 5 years ago, people who don't know, like, there was times when Tesla would execute on many things. They could roll out Model 3, they could roll out Model Y, they could roll out a new China factory, get to 1 million cars. They were executing great on a lot of many different things for a while. So sustained execution to transform the company would be, but we need to have continued movement.
Yeah, I think
It does feel like a number of things have slowed down. And I think it is because of the shift to autonomy. And I just hope it's not premature. We know Elon wanted to remove the steering wheel a long time ago. It was a good thing he didn't. Maybe this time it's different.
Yeah, Herbert, I think it's both. I do think there's a bigger number of people who are buying into the stock for tomorrow because of deliveries. And like that hurts my heart to say that and my brain. But but at the same time, I think the aperture is widening for the amount of people who are in Tesla for autonomy and AI. But it's not one or the other, it's both. It's literally both. Tomorrow, and it'll be interesting to see how tomorrow's spun. Like I can almost see it already. CNBC, Tesla beats consensus analysts. However, fears amount on them doing a pull forward because of the EV tax credit, and despair for Q4 lingers. Something like that.
Yeah. The best explanation I like is that Tesla's still a car company, and so core business needs to show not decline, but stabilization or increase. And so the car numbers do matter. If they show just decent numbers, then people can jump in and believe the autonomy. The interesting thing is that this week, not only do we have the P&D numbers for Q3, we're going to have FSD 14. And so if that does, again, it may not happen this week, could be next week, could be 2 weeks from now, but that is where people are now going to start, more people will start believing and understanding that this is closer to being solved than not being solved. Every little bit matters, right?
A question I would want to ask of Nick and the Brian that isn't me is, what kind of energy numbers are we expecting for this quarter?
I'm expecting over 13 gigawatt hours, and my hope is over 15. That would be my hope.
I think it's going to be a surprise, isn't it? Because we had a lumpy Q2, so it could show up. And if not Q3, it will show up in Q4.
Yeah, and for me, Brian, that's not the Brian down there. I don't know. I left my crystal ball at your house. So.
Yeah. He doesn't have one. He has a Magic 8. He threw it away. Okay. I like this David Huber comment. I'm 100% sure the stock will do the opposite of what I think it will.
I can vouch for David. He's been correct about being incorrect almost universally.
100% of the time, he's right.
Yeah.
He's going to be wrong.
I think it's going to go up. Therefore, I think it's going to go down. But now it's got to go up because I thought it was going to go down.
Once you put the money in, it's a lock.
Ooh.
So we have to have an anti-Huber instead of an anti-Kramer, So.
Okay. This week we had yesterday surprise with the performance. Was it a surprise to you guys that they actually launched it 6 hours before the midnight, so that they can get people jumping on, ordering it, and then taking advantage of the $7,500 credit? It was late enough in the day that it would not cannibalize anybody who wanted to buy a Model Y. It shouldn't cannibalize anybody. It still is a Model Y, so I didn't know why they didn't even do it earlier. But what was the reasoning they did it yesterday, the timing they did it yesterday, and do you think that it's going to be very effective?
I presume they weren't ready.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I thought they just weren't ready. Like, they're trying to push out cars, and they're just like, they may not be doing as much time.
How could they not be ready? They basically said that delivery won't happen until December, so it's not it's just an announcement at this point.
Okay,
so I'm not wrong about that. Okay,
so I was going to say I think it would be earlier in the day, if anything, just so that they would have, because a lot of people, by the time it was announced, didn't hear about it or couldn't get their order executed. I know Matt Smith posted today that this morning his brother reached out and said, "Okay, I'm ready to buy a Tesla. Help me get the credit."
Oh, that hurts.
This morning.
That hurts. Yeah. Matt Smith posted that.
Herbert, so assuming let's play some hypotheticals here. Let's say that what you're saying, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is that they might have put it out there last night so people could buy it with the EV tax credit kind of last second, right? It's not going to be ready till December, to your point, or whenever it is, but we at least want people to take advantage of it. If that is the thought process, then we may not be seeing a more affordable Tesla, because you would have thought they would have done the same thing with that then, if that's the logic.
Yeah. So let's go through that. Alexander Mertz has been saying for the last month, she's been hoping that they would do exactly this, which is the week before or days before the September 30th, they would allow people to put a down payment in the performance and the more affordable vehicle, so that everybody can rush and just do it and just take advantage of the
pipeline.
75. Yeah. But they did not do the more affordable vehicle, but they did the performance. Okay. So the only thing I could think of why they did that is not, I think you're saying that, oh, that might mean they're not ready for that one. I don't think so.
Could be
I think
not
that-
enough parts to qualify, right? Maybe the battery's still coming from China or something like that.
Yeah. So I think there's a difference, right? In that I think Jeff Lutz said it really well yesterday. The performance is a higher priced car that has higher margins. So you don't mind if somebody goes, oh crap, I'm not going to buy the regular Model Y. I'm going to go and buy the performance. And that's switch. But what you don't want is the last 6 hours of people choosing to buy the Model Y go, oh, there's a cheaper and more affordable Volvo. I'm not going to put my money in. And by the way, the Model Y, if you put the money in tomorrow, you'll get that delivery in a month, in the next month or two. But this one, the more affordable vehicle, that may not be ready for that delivery for months, right? So you're delaying that. I think that, and it's a lower price car, lower margins.
I don't know. I mean, imagine it was selling for 25,000.
It's not going to be selling for 25,000, dude. Where'd you get that number from?
Imagine was.
I'm not going to imagine it. It's not even like imagine a unicorn. No, I'm not going to do it.
30,000? Is that happy for you?
Yes, 30,000. I think 33,000 is a worthy of my imagination. Well, where did you get the 25,000?
We're not imagination, remember?
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Say it's 30 grand.
Okay.
Right? If all of a sudden, last 6 hours, last 24 hours, you tell me, hey, you can get a Tesla for $22,500 if you order it now, that would dwarf what you're going to get from the Model Y performance when it comes to margins. And even then, you can choose to say, hey, we're going to do it at 33,000. We're going to take some of that benefit of that credit for our own margins, right? There's like lots of games you could have played there. So I don't buy that that's what's going on there. It could still be that they wanted to do that with the performance for all the same reasons you said, but the new affordable vehicle is not going to qualify for those requirements, right? Because there's strict requirements to qualify for it. And so maybe it just didn't make sense to make the bill of materials have all parts and materials that qualify for this credit they're going away. But it's just, it's something worth thinking about.
The other thought I had was, don't you need to be registered with the IRS ahead of time? And then maybe the performance was something that's a smaller variant, so it's easier to get them to have already, approved it, versus this is a much of a different car.
So I have a quick theory is that if you get 10,000 orders, at the last minute for this car coming in December, then I already had an excess of orders in October because of, I'm ordering the last day and I'm going to deliver in October with the regular Model Y or whatever. And then these other performance Ys are in December. So you're kind of sprinkling an excess of 10,000, 20,000 cars into each month. So that would be kind of like spreading around. If there was some kind of strategy, thing behind that you're spreading out your extra orders.
Do you guys think it's going to eat into December? Kind of everything shifting left, pulling it forward?
I mean, only on performance. I think the other ones will be delivered in the next few weeks.
I just mean in general, delivery numbers by January 2nd, when we get delivery numbers, do you think that they might be the same as Q3 or maybe even a little less because there's so much pull forward?
I'm concerned about
that's going to be the narrative.
I'm concerned about Q4. I think it'll be lower.
Yep. For
So
sure,
then-
there's a huge. Was it Brian? What's your estimate, Brian White? Was it a 20-30% increase of sales in Q3 versus Q2 because of this IRA credit?
Yes, but also on the strength of China having recovered almost to levels we've seen in record years. Also on the strength of Berlin adding shifts to send cars to Canada. There are a number of positives out there.
But the company can do things to juice demand. So we see how effective that is. So if it was some kind of like 20% shift, then you need to get 50,000 more cars in the United States, something like that. So a bunch of incentives, other things to do it, and maybe announcing a new car that is lower priced to move things over.
To that point, if anyone at Tesla is watching us, and if you're not, you should be, the 0% financing on the Cybertruck, if you were to do that on the Model X, you got a buyer for you right here, ready to go.
Because there's expanded family or what?
Well, yeah, but just how can't say no to 0%. My friend, my best friend, actually just bought a Cybertruck yesterday. Him and his fiance, they're not married yet, so they're using the $7,500 tax credit because he can't qualify for it, but she can. So they went ahead and they put in the Cybertruck yesterday, get the $7,500 tax credit, 0% interest rate. How amazing is that? And you get that if you buy FSD with it. So they'll have FSD with it as well. And his big complaint has been he bought the Hardware 3 Model Y a month before the Hardware 4 came out. I advised him not to, but he did it. And he's been stuck on version 12 for however long. And he's like, I'm not even excited about FSD anymore. And I think that's the impetus for him to really get the Cybertruck, was that he was sick of not being able to experience the new FSD. But all that to tell you, Herbert, he's thinking about naming the Cybertruck Herbert.
Why? What a dumb. No, don't do that, dude. Dumb name.
I'm not. It's not because of you. But he just said that to me. I was like, oh man, I gotta tell Herbert that
You
you're
got
gonna
to tell
name
me.
her Herbert.
Well, do you know what my Cyber Bowl friends were making fun of me on Thursday because I asked the question, the last question, the way I asked it for the day, I said, okay, so everybody has a name for your Tesla vehicle. Would you name your Optimus? And CERN says, yeah, I'm going to name it Herbert. And I'm going to go, Herbert, clean the floor. Herbert, pick up the crash. Herbert is going to have fun ordering me around. And so now they started calling me Herbot.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh man,
It's like Herbert does sound like a butler, doesn't it? Like it's a crazy old name.
what's your guys' Tesla's name?
Crew Dragon, like I'm dragging my crew around.
Oh, that's pretty good. Nice pun. Yeah. What's yours, Brian?
I have not named it yet.
What?
Yeah.
Too lazy to go do the thing, but soon.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then one is Tessa, which is very common. Everybody just does that. And the other one is Yezi. So
Nice. Yeah, I have a black Model Y Performance, so we named it the Black Mamba, and we just call it Mamba after the late Kobe Bryant.
yeah. Okay. So that is now here we are, the more affordable vehicle that could be announced anytime now because it is the fourth quarter. Joe Bakhti had a great theory. His theory is that don't expect them to launch it this week because they just finished off a very big Q3. They don't want to piss off anybody. That's, I didn't know you were going to launch yet another Model Y variant next week. And then he thinks that the announcement will be the following week, October 9th. October 6th, and then he thinks that the actual launch date will be 10 days later, October 16th. And his reasoning is that October 22nd is the actual earnings call, so they don't want to do it during that week, and they'll want to do it beforehand, and they don't want to wait till the week afterwards because then you've lost the whole month. So he thinks announcement next week and launch the following week, October 16th. He's very precise about this. What do you guys think about that logic?
Maybe, possible.
I think it's too soon. What do you think?
Tell
Nick?
me more. Wait, no. Wow,
I think
that
it's too soon.
interesting.
I think the 16th is I mean, that's like barely 2 weeks from now. I think it's too soon. I think the value of the next model is so great that they won't want to announce it until it's ready to go. With the performance, these are people who've been waiting for ages anyway. Might as well get the deposits in just so we can be ready to go, ready to rock and roll. We know where to send them to. But with anything else, whether it's a new model of any type, a new trim that hasn't existed before, I think that would create too much hesitation, which is why in China with the YL, we didn't see it officially announced until it was a couple weeks from delivery. They were just too concerned it would Osborne and people would hold off on buying other models. And I think
the argument, Brian, is that they were about to launch the model, the more affordable vehicle in June. This was announced to be the first quarter of this year. What they said?
Were
June.
they?
I'm with Nick. Where are they? No, he said a long time ago, first half of the year.
First half of the year, and then because we found out on July 4th with the big beautiful bill, the introduction of the IRA credit being removed, and then in September they came back and said, "Oh, by the way, we're going to change rules." But when we found out that the IRA credit was going to be removed at this date, September 30th, then Tesla wisely decided not to release the more affordable vehicle in June, and therefore they're going to do it in the fourth quarter. They said it'll be fourth quarter, so the likelihood is that they're very ready to launch this, and it's just a matter of them, by choice, deciding to postpone it.
So the previous models, they've generally been first introducing them in Shanghai and China because of, perhaps they're more operationally ready to do the first go at new vehicles. They had a stripped down version of one of the vehicles for
the Model
Mexico.
3 in Mexico.
In Mexico,
the Model
right.
3. Mm-hmm.
And that was produced in China? That was a vehicle for China? So could they launch the more affordable vehicle in some other markets before the one in the US, which would, like in October, like the demand you would think would be more affordable vehicle would be in Europe, where they want, for very price sensitive, China, and then some other markets in Asia and South America, which would, I'm not sure. So basically, like, which factory would you want to go at? You have capacity in Berlin, so you could do it that way. Is there any hiring stuff that would, tip the hand really to that? Would they need to add a shift or anything anywhere in order to do it?
So I don't think they would need to hire different people, maybe more people, but I haven't noticed any unusual hiring trends. I haven't looked, but a lot of times people are looking and bring them out to our attention. In terms of where, I think you're very right on that. Berlin has the capacity. Shanghai has the expertise. Shanghai would be the obvious choice, except look at their production. They're at capacity. Do they really want to add another variant right now when they just finished ramping the YL? So it would be an interesting idea to put it in Berlin first, hold off on the YL there. But I mean, really, Berlin, I don't see a reason they couldn't do both.
Dude. Makes sense. Both of you guys. Makes sense. Yeah. YL, I think we heard that France said that Giga Shanghai themselves announced that they now produce a car every 30 seconds. Previously was every 35 seconds. And then the Model YL shot up to 4,000 sales last week. Before it was 800, and before that was 900, and then before that was 800. So they're now moving into production for the Model YL. So I think you're right. It's kind of like an odd timing there to do it this month.
Do you guys think there's any chance they don't do it? They just don't do it
this quarter?
Just period. There is no other more affordable vehicle.
No.
Any chance?
No chance. Because Greg or Jeff always keeps pointing out why then has Tesla been every single earnings call for the last 4 earnings calls there's been a line item, a paragraph, several paragraphs talking about the more affordable vehicles, and then they.
Before we get off the YL, I just want to say that the other Brian and me were both saying that the YL should get to about 3,000 to 5,000 per week. I have an upside beyond that, which is that things would be super wonderful if we get like 8,000, 10,000. But at least 4,000, 5,000 per week.
We're at 4,000. Yeah.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
Q4,
we hit 4,000. Mhm.
would be an extra 40,000, 50,000 vehicles for Q4 at that constant rate. So that'd be a huge offset against any drop in overall global numbers.
Yes, and because we're talking about the big dip coming in Q4, guys, the credit only ended in one country. Mind you, it's a very big market for Tesla, but it is as a percentage of total production, it's not even most. So in China, we're going to see likely a stronger Q4 than Q1. That will offset some of it. Other markets haven't had any new downside that is fresh for Q4. So yeah, it's not going to be as gloomy as some folks think. And Q4 is historically a very strong quarter for auto sales. Q1 could get a little quiet, but we'll find out.
Hey, Nick, just 2 days ago, Franz von Holhausen was interviewed by CNBC, and he was asked the question. The interviewer said, tell me more about the sub $30,000 car. And he talked about it. And he, first of all, what was interesting was he just kind of ignored the comment. And so people are going, what, sub 30,000? Maybe that's possible, because he didn't address that. But he did say we're working to reduce prices. So it sounds like that we're still on track for some sort of more affordable law.
You just jumped all down my throat.
I did.
Only to come back. You guys see what I have to deal with here?
Yeah. I discounted it, Nick. I mean, do you
really
think
Herbert gets bullied by the cyber bulls, and he learns from them how to bully, and then he comes and does it to me. And then I'm at Brian Oz's house with 8 balls, and you wonder why we have problems.
Come on. So do you honestly, do you really think that there's a chance that it's going to be sub 30?
I think it has to be. I mean, even if it's just in
China, for sure.
900 kind of thing, like psychologically, seeing a 2-handle versus 3-handle does make a big difference. It really does. Like when you're buying anything, like this is why do you think you buy a shirt that's $19.99 instead of the $20 that it is? Like there's a reason they do that. Or even like if you go on Zillow, look at how many houses are just under the 5,000 or the 4,000 or 3,000 for rent. There's a reason why they do these things. But I really hope that they do release something. I could see them doing it like in November and kind of making a soft announcement during the earnings call, or saying that they'll hold an event. I really don't think that they would not hold an event unless it's just a stripped down Model Y, which it very much could be. I could see them holding an event. But if they do announce a lower cost vehicle, that even if there's like almost no margin on it for Tesla, but it's meaningful enough in price, I think you could see every kid about to get their license, everyone who just went off to college, anyone who's about to graduate in their senior year, just getting this as a gift, as a car, whatever. I think you could see huge demand for it. But I'm kind of skeptical that we see anything in October. I feel like October is going to be about tomorrow, earnings call, and version 14. November just seems like a nice month to have a little event. Everyone's, I don't know. Anytime Tesla they just don't do things the way we would want. We're all, even I was saying this last time, October 1st, do it. The last day, announce it so we can get flood of orders. They're always a little late. I hear what you're saying. It's been ready since June, and then the big, beautiful bill. Look, that was a convenient excuse to be able to be like, you know what? We're going to latch onto that. We're not delayed. It just doesn't make financial sense to go ahead and launch it. Tesla's amazing. Tesla is awful at timing.
The timing is very brutal on a lot of things. I would say we're not going to see it under 30,000. We're not going to see it start with a 2, perhaps outside of China. I think Brian's right. If you look, the Model Y is already 35 in China, 37, I think, depending on the trim. So getting to under 30, not a what?
40.
What is it here in States?
More. It's like 47, I think. I don't remember now, but
I just keep looking
it
at the
is-
X.
So,
I have
but getting
problems.
to 30, under 30, inflation alone makes that very, very difficult. We're living in different times. The money's worth a different amount than it used to be. I don't see it. I don't see a path to sub 30,000 with the reductions we've seen. They originally had a standard range Model Y that they were going to sell that would have had like 200 miles of range. They said, look, nobody wants this. Let's not even do it. And I think that was the right move. I think on the used market, those would be worthless at this point. So while there are ways to make a car that cheap, I don't see this one having the path to do it.
And then Elon said most recently, he said that it's going to be sub 30,000 with the $7,500 credit.
Yep.
Yeah. Mid 30s, high 30s, that seems a lot more reasonable. I don't think it needs to be, substantially cheaper than the cheapest Model 3. I think it'd be great if it could, but I don't think it needs to.
Well, if you had a compact version, if the compact actually did this, where it's stripped down and you shrunk it by 10 inches, something like that, and then took out some battery stuff, then you can get down to the lower price, I think. Where you strip down, 3K and then get another 4K out by making it smaller.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that they're going to do a compact car. And the reason is that I think that they just decided to take the Model Y production line, make a stripped down version of it, make the YL, and then, make it get that out of the way. Now the whole focus will be on autonomous vehicles. Brian White, Mr. White, Sensei White. The now that they're working on trying to get the Cybercab, which itself is going to be a $25,000 vehicle, right? Very low cost. Is there any learnings that they could have doing that? I know it's unboxed model, it's not the production line, but is there anything they can learn from that and maybe informed of how to even bring down the price of this more affordable vehicle more?
I'm going to say no, because the savings are load bearing. It has half the stereo system because it has half the cabin. It has a third of the cooling loop because it's not driven by a human. The battery can be smaller because you've got all these other weight savings and efficiencies. The wiring harness is simplified because you don't have all the buttons, all the mirrors, all the gizmos. So I don't see any lessons that they would be able to just port over to a traditional line, unfortunately.
Couldn't you do sheet molded compound instead of painting? That would take out 3K, and it would, if you were to do that systemically, then you would take out a large part of the factory.
The 3Y, S, and X are all unibody, and the Cybercab is not. It is more of a panels onto a body kind of design. So I don't think that would be the right solution. I think that would just, I don't know if it would even work, because with unibody, you're not going to have molded panels and then stamp them together or weld them together like that. I don't think. So yeah, it is just such a whole different beast. But it's the reason why no one will be able to compete. You look at Waymo, who has to buy a car that has way too many features and then add more features. You look at Zoox, who's saying, hey, we're building this ourselves from the ground up. It in numbers so small, it doesn't even make sense. They're not going to be producing 1,000, 5,000 cars a day. That's never going to happen. They will not get to the economies of scale. So if you're comparing a Cybercab, a purpose-built, day one, clean slate design against any of these other options, Waymo starts optimistically at $1 a mile disadvantage. What? That's, I don't know how you stay in business at that point. And maybe the answer is you don't. I also see people saying, well, the Cybercab's going to be, 18 cents a mile, and then everyone will use it. It's like, well, I think that's too optimistic, but that's a much bigger discussion. I should mention, it's about almost time for me to take my break because I do an after show where I answer your questions as best I'm able from the show that came in. And Herbert can tell you all about next week when things are going to be a little different. And we will see you guys back in 10 minutes. If you're watching on Herbert's or my live stream, you'll be redirected. If you're watching somewhere else, just come find me.
Brian, make sure you get rid of the mic when you take your break. We don't want any. All right.
Okay.
See you later. He didn't catch my joke. Okay, so next week we're going to be. I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, so I will be not here. And but Brian White will be the one to continue this live stream. We'll manage everybody, and we'll also co-stream it still on my channel. So maybe you guys will have fun without me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that will happen. Okay, so yeah, Nick, with Cybercab, I was thinking this idea that would they even offer this more affordable vehicle or not? This Cybercab, when that comes out, who's buying it? Like, I think the general concept is that Tesla will use all of it that they need for the first, I don't know, several months, years. But wouldn't they have to sell it too in order to, I don't know, show that it's being sold and being bought? And do you think that that's what's going to happen? Or do you think that they'll just basically absorb all Cybercabs they make for the next year?
I think it'll start off being just Tesla. And I think, maybe like for an entire quarter, maybe 2 quarters, it'd just be Tesla. Because they're going to want to launch in many different geos, right? Right now they're in California and Austin, but Texas is really big. California is really big. Florida's really big. New York's really big. Chicago. I mean, you go on and on. So, and I think Tesla would want to have a piece of the pie in all of those. I also don't think, again, this might be kind of against what maybe Elon and them have said before, but I could see a world where they just decide not to sell these to fleet managers, but they'll sell it to kind of like the idea of imagine a world where we don't let BlackRock and Blackstone, these companies, buy individual houses. So you let individuals like us, we can buy 2 or 3 properties and have rentals, and we're kind of small investors, right? But you're not letting the BlackRocks. I could almost see a system like that where they're not going to sell it to Hertz, but they'll sell, 3 or 4 of them to Brian Herbert and let them, I think there's something kind of beautiful about doing a setup like that to allow the little guy to have a chance to succeed. And, it fosters a good spirit within capitalism rather than allowing other people to synthetically dominate a market and raise prices and just squeeze everyone out. I don't know, but I think I could see a world where it takes a while before Tesla releases this to everybody, because it's not just the vehicle. It's how the vehicle is added, subtracted to the network, right? Because that's going to be a constant, ebb and flow of demand, supply and demand. And then how do you maintenance it? Where do you have it? What happens when the airports got flooded with X amount of vehicles? What happens when there's not enough? There's just a lot of that goes into that. And Tesla's going to want to have that data and not be reliant on, is someone going to put it in? Is someone not going to be putting it in? So I don't know. To me, in my world, my mind, it makes more sense for Tesla just to own it completely, not sell any of them. For me, that's what I would do. Kind of take an Apple approach.
So I view it as kind of like, how do you choose the franchise? Because each one is a revenue generating positive.
That's a great way to think about it. I like this. I like where you're going. Yes.
So basically, you have McDonald's, and they were franchising. You say, okay, the franchise, you have the business, and then you sell to individual owners. But then they end up like in Burger King with these super massive franchises that would then suck up like a few hundred of these things. So even if you start at a starting point, said, for whatever reason, we're going to advantage the small single, smaller group, I think economically you would end up with larger groups anyway, right? That they would end up aggregating, because the ones who could operate more efficiently would gobble up the ones who would be less efficient.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not sure, like in Canada and other places, they have things where to the things about residential property and stuff like that, they can do stuff where they can, adjust who's getting it. But I think in the United States, it seems like one, a futile thing, and then two, not something that they need to worry about. They say, here's the price, we're going to charge this for FSD, we're going to tune the prices as we want based on demand. And then if it's a big company that buys it or a small company that buys it or individual, it goes where it ends up going. Do they want to have any kind of like layers and dealing with, fleet to fleet kind of things? I think that depends upon the rollout. If there's a quality of service advantage to having it better managed professionally with a group that can handle the charging, the cleaning, and all that kind of stuff, I think that because I think they've talked about that. You have to have a standard of service, where it's like you need to make sure that you're, if I want to put up my 3 and the Y in, it has to be met to a cleaning standard. So they're going to have that kind of control, which may end up resulting in how the network relations work. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I want to change my answer, Herbert.
Yeah.
Here's my answer. I like what Brian said. I like the idea of it being like a franchise approach, something that some franchises do, like I think Chick-fil-A, for example, is that you had to have worked there and been a manager for like X amount of time before they even let you get into it. So imagine if you want to get into it and you want to buy Cybercabs, you have to show us that you are invested in Tesla as a company and you own shares. We're not going to have people get franchises without staking the game and actually being in here. So like that could be one of those kind of caveats, right? And then to Brian's point, with regards to like a standard, think of Uber right now. And you can get any Uber, right? But when you do a Uber Black or Uber Black XL, there's a standard to be expected. And I think, again, to that point, Tesla, look, you can order a Tesla Robotaxi, whatever, anytime you want. That could be a 3, a Y, a SX, whatever. It doesn't matter. But when you order a Cybercab, there's a standard and experience that we expect. And I see that Tesla would want to own that experience and have and that's where I think the franchises happen. The rest of them, hey, you order a 3 or a Y, like you get what you get, like you expect that. But when you order the Cybercab, that there's a standard that's going to be met every time.
Very good, guys. Makes sense. So what I want to bring it back to the conversation today, which is this could be a very big week, right? We have production delivery dropping tomorrow. We had the performance September 30th ended yesterday. We have potentially FSD dropping maybe this week. And I think most of us don't think that they're going to announce or launch the new affordable model this week. But the other thing that could happen this week is maybe an expansion of Robotaxi. So we keep finding more of these vehicles, these Robotaxi validation testing. Now, another one in Denton, Texas, 45 minutes outside of Dallas. We've been seeing more and more of these kind of cars out there. And we know once these cars are found in a certain location, pretty soon Tesla does announce that there's an expansion of the geography in Austin. That could happen this week, I think. I'm pretty confident.
Based on the fact that we have like that chart that says there's like 15, 18 places that it could go, that if you have 13 weeks in a quarter, this is going to be a once a week, 2 a week, 1 every 2 week kind of thing. It's going to pretty rapidly get to like all the time. Another place. So when did that start? I think
we're due. We're due for an announcement of an expansion of Austin, right?
Yeah, right. Or another location like some other city. Yeah.
Or it could be that they slowed everything down, stopped it until FSD version 14 is, finalized, tested, and then we'll resume expansion at that point.
Yeah, I think 14 is kind of the, and not the first iteration of 14. I think it's going to be 14.5 or something like that, where all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is meaningful for the expansion of Robotaxi. And even then, maybe it's not 14, maybe it's 15, but within the next, I'd say 6 months, it's going to happen where I think we start getting to these, exponential type city after city, or, cities covering X amount of square mileage, and it doubled and it doubled again. Like I think we're going to start seeing more of that within the next 6 months.
I
I'm
did a
earlier.
show-
I think 14.2 in December is when the
moment.
thing goes. Yeah, that's when it goes.
I did a show with CERN and just on last weekend, and he pointed out the actual words that Elon said about this in the last earnings call, and he used the word hyper exponential growth. Hyper exponential for the both service area and basically Robotaxi. Yeah.
But have we
So-
seen any more robotaxis get put out? Like, do we know?
Yeah, well,
don't know.
this
It's California, I've been hearing there's more and more that they're seeing. I don't know if anybody's tracking it though.
I think there's some various announcements about, from the Robotaxi X thing, but it was in this minor amount, like 50% more in Austin. So it hasn't been like a huge wave that I think somebody would have detected that if it was like
Yeah.
from like
No, but in California you can't detect it because there's somebody driving a Model Y, right? It's like,
Right.
how do you know that that's a regular car or a Robotaxi?
right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Good. Thank you
Okay.
both very much. I appreciate it. Stay on and you'll get redirected to Brian White's channel, Future Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Not me,
Bye.
but everybody else here.